Chris, bro, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, really excited to have you here and really excited to be talking about the ice shaker. And from the jump, just big congrats on obviously a really successful product and everything you've done with it. And like I told you before we jumped on here, so obviously this is a podcast about, businesses and startups. So maybe to start this, Chris, when did you first get interested in the business game?
Yeah, man. Let's see, my dad's going on 32 years now. Starting his own business himself. So I grew up watching it. He started with one little store, started with his brother. Turned into 17 retail locations and a massive wholesale accounts as well. So he's now, I believe, the second largest distributor in the U.S. of specialty fitness equipment. So, watching him back in the day, start from nothing. I was delivering treadmills for him, building machines, all that. It was cool to see. I didn't know at that time that I wanted to be an entrepreneur or I would, but it was definitely a nice learning experience for me. And man, a huge respect for my dad. Once I started it myself and saw how much he actually accomplished, it's been amazing to see, and he's been a great resource.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Now you played in the NFL, so you played, Cowboys, Colts, Broncos, and Chargers. So how did that time in the NFL play, a role in preparing you to be, the successful entrepreneur you are now?
But yeah, man, it's definitely something I didn't know I was going to do. The whole entrepreneur thing came about. Not even my own idea. It was actually my wife's at first. She started another business before Ice Shaker. She still has. It's super successful. But when you go to three teams in 3 years, your wife tries to find a way to work from home instead of having to get a new job everywhere she goes. So she started just a small personalization company out of the house. And when I got done playing and when my contract ended, I started looking into it more and realized there's a great opportunity there. So kind of just became an entrepreneur by accident with something my wife started, jumped right into that, did that for 5 years and realized it was her passion and not mine. And I wanted to find my own. And when I thought of the idea for Ice Shaker, it was a great way to get back into the fitness and health industry, which I love being in.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned too with your dad in the previous question. And I heard in an interview before when I was preparing for this, just how your dad instilled for you to, do everything and do it right, you know what I mean, and do it big. And obviously you've done everything with the ice shaker with, preparation to the fullest, with confidence to the fullest, even, with fun to the fullest. And so, a lot of people I think maybe start and they don't go all the way in, or maybe they're halfway in and they don't really fully believe in their product. And obviously, if we don't believe in our product, how is anybody else going to believe in that? So, how have you continually seen growth as you've gone all in, like your father taught you?
Yeah, man, the growth really came and still does come from the team, man. It doesn't matter how great your product is. Ours can compare to any other product on the market. And when I started really digging down deep, saying like, hey, what's stopping us from being, at that next level, being that next massive company? And at the end of the day, it's all your team. It's like a football team at the end of the day. If you have a great coach, great organization, great players, you're going to win championships. And that's how you have to look at your business as well. I was super competitive. I wanted to do everything myself. A lot of entrepreneurs want to, they want to have their hands in everything. They want to control a lot. And it becomes a problem if you want to grow, if you want to scale, if you want to get to that next level, because there's not enough hours in the day to get everything accomplished. So that was one of my biggest downfalls at first. It was something my dad kept telling me that I needed to fix. And, I think I took a little bit longer than I should have. You do have to do everything at first to get it off the ground.
Yeah.
You do have to go through these learning curves. You have to save some money too. You got to bootstrap that puppy and get it going. And then when you can, and when you're there, and when it becomes too much responsibility on your plate, you have to learn how to delegate it. Because if you don't, you just stay in that same spot year over year over year. So that was my biggest thing. And one of the biggest things my dad taught me and kept telling me is, once you get to that level, you have to start dishing off some responsibility and you have to start building a team. At the end of the day, you got to build an amazing team. These guys are going to be able to do what you can do and better if you teach them the right way.
Right. Yeah, it's critical. You can't do everything on your own for sure. Um, yeah, you can get so far along. Like you said, you gotta, you're bootstrapping, you don't have any outside capital. There's definitely that season, but I think a lot of times we can get past that season and then kind of outgrow that season, and then it can get away from us. It can get away from us pretty quickly. Um, Chris, I had somebody on a couple days ago that was on the most recent episode of Shark Tank. I wanted to talk with you a little bit
All right.
about that. I've talked with a few different people actually. Yeah, a few different people now on Shark Tank. So just wanted to kind of get your perspective, kind of building that brand and then going on the show. What was that experience like? And then maybe just talk about what it looked like leading up to that time. And then, what sales or even what the product itself looked like following those days.
For sure, man. So, man, it was super early. So we're 6 months into the company when we had the chance to pitch. So, uh, the goal at that point was just to get the sales up as high as possible, so I could go
Yeah.
on and get the highest valuation I could. But we were definitely early. We had enough to really prove the concept, but it wasn't anything really spectacular. We did about 80,000 in the first 6 months. So, from the ground up, it's not terrible. It takes a lot to get something going. So, got on the show 6 months in, and after that, we went from that 80,000 to over 3 million in sales in the next 12 months. So, Shark Tank's the real deal. It really is what people say it is. It's exposure, massive exposure. It's a huge proof of concept. We had offers from all five sharks. We closed with Mark Cuban and Alex Rodriguez. And when people at home watching see this, if all five sharks offer, it's almost like, hey, I need to buy this product or I need to check it out. So that was massive. And then the money that came in at that time was huge too. We're talking a huge influx of cash and really at the highest margin. We weren't paying for advertising, so this is coming in at top dollar, and we're getting some great cash to help us then really go out and make more products and really grow fast. So it was huge, man. It was absolutely massive. You know, I wish I was a little bit further along, maybe, but at that point, 6 months in, you really can't ask for a better influx of just eyeballs on your product and cash.
Yeah, without question. What do you think? Because I know there's a lot of variables that play into this, but what do you think is the formula for striking a deal with all five sharks? Because obviously that's the ideal situation, and yet not very many people get there. And so again, while I know that there's a lot of different things that go in, what's your thoughts on maybe somebody, maybe it's not Shark Tank somebody's going on, but maybe somebody's meeting with an angel investor this week. What do you think is kind of the secret sauce, if you will, for getting the deals?
Yeah, for sure. Getting a deal, I think they have to understand your product.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that was something that was really easy with us. It was super simple. It was a simple product. The proof of concept was there. There was sales, there was profit, and there's a good backstory about it too. I think when people are actually passionate about the product and they make it, for in my case for myself, I think that's very powerful as well. Whereas other people will go in with an idea just trying to make bank. They're just trying to create something completely new with no proof of concept and just strike gold. And that's tough to do, especially when you're not passionate about it. So I think all those things help for sure. And then just having confidence as well. You got to go in there and you got to have some kind of swag as well.
Yeah.
Helps a lot. So if you go in there nervous and they could tell, it's definitely not a good look. And so I wanted to be as prepared as possible when I got in that room. I went over every question, wrote it down that they'd ever asked in the last 8 seasons, and I was just dying for them to ask the question. So be prepared. With being prepared, it's going to come confidence, and you're going to show up in that room, and people, you're gonna demand respect from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Confidence is key without question. Chris, is it cool if we do some rapid fire real quick?
Let's do some rapid fire, man.
Oh, man. All right. Hey, what's it like being Rob's brother?
Dude, it's like the greatest. You get the most benefit possible without having to take the big hits, man. It's kind
Yeah.
of how I see
I
it
hear that.
without getting the beat down. So I love it, man. People are like, oh, must suck being overshadowed by your little brother. I'm like, oh, it's probably the most benefits you can ever get without getting absolutely crushed. So it's been fun, man. We're all really tight, and
Yeah.
I love seeing him succeed, man. It
Yeah.
helps me and challenges me to get better as well.
No doubt. Yeah, I love seeing the dynamic of all your brothers. It's a cool thing for sure. Are there any trends in the market right now? It doesn't have to be specific to working out or anything like that, but anything in the market you think more people should be paying attention to?
Yes, sir. I was we're going straight stock tips here. I'm going gambling stocks, man. I just
Yeah.
feel something like DraftKings, Penn Gaming. It's legal in 5 states now. It might be more now. I'm not sure, but you got to think that it's going to continue to grow. It's going to go to a majority of the states, and any of these companies that are in early with online gambling are going to explode. So
Yeah.
uh, gambling's going nowhere. So I'm all in on, uh, on gambling stocks, man. I think that's definitely a trend right now.
No doubt. Yeah, I agree. What's been the most valuable lesson you've learned in starting the Ice Shaker?
Oh man, most valuable patience. I'll probably say has been, especially once I had 3 kids. This was throughout the life of the business. I'm now a father of 3, so uh, I really had to learn patience. It was hard for me because I'm someone that will work 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week if I need to. I have no problem. I will always want to be doing something, and when I wasn't, it felt like I wasn't accomplishing anything. So that was tough for me to sit down and watch a baby for a couple hours at first. Uh, but what it did was it did teach me patience, and then with that, it taught me how to start delegating and how to build a team. So it was
Mm,
one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. Was having kids, and then even like the pandemic, not being able to go to work, not being able to be with the team. How do I communicate with them? I had to learn how to build processes and put structure in place that allowed everything to run, even if I wasn't there, which was a massive, just massive change that we needed.
yeah, for sure. I don't know if you're a reader at all. Maybe it's audiobooks, maybe it's podcasts. But is there any decent books that you've read in regards to business or anything in your career that's helped you a lot?
For sure. Last one I read was Grit by Angela Duckworth, and I love that book. It really shows that it doesn't matter how smart you are, how talented you are. If you really, really want it, if you have that grit, you can get it done. And this was proven with Navy SEALs, that went through SEAL training. It wasn't necessarily the most talented. It was the one who wanted it the most that made it through it. And just reading that book definitely opens up your eyes. It shows you that anything is possible.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out for sure. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, bro. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.